Imagine enduring 3 full days without a single morsel of food. No snacks, no quick energy boosts, not even a sip of juice, just water and quiet reflection. Initially, this idea might seem unsettling, perhaps even absurd. We live in a world saturated with food, grocery stores on every corner, drive-thrus alight at midnight, and delivery apps promising to satisfy cravings within minutes. The thought of deliberately abstaining from all this nourishment can feel punitive. Yet, there's a truth rarely acknowledged. The human body was not designed for constant consumption. Instead, it was built for cycles, periods of abundance followed by periods of scarcity. And within these intervals, these silent stretches devoid of food, the body unveils an inherent intelligence that modern life has nearly suppressed. Long before the advent of refrigerators and convenience stores, our ancestors routinely went a day, 2, or even more between meals. They didn't perish, they adapted, sharpened their senses, and survived because their bodies intrinsically knew how to tap into a deeper modus operandi for energy, clarity, and conservation. That same ancient system still resides within you. When you refrain from eating for 72 hours, this system doesn't shut down, it awakens. Your cells change their communication, your brain reorients its priorities, and your metabolism unveils a version of you that emerges only when food is absent. What transpires isn't starvation, but transformation. The moment you cease eating, your body doesn't react with panic, as most people might imagine. It does something far more sophisticated. It pauses. It's as if your biology leans in, listening, waiting to discern if this is a temporary delay or the prelude to something more significant. During these initial hours, everything feels normal because, indeed, everything is. You're still operating on the glucose from your last meal, stored as glycogen in your liver and muscles, the biological equivalent of pocket money saved for the next few hours of daily life. Insulin levels gradually begin to decline, slowly and steadily, signaling that the era of easily accessible fuel is waning. However, nothing dramatic occurs yet. You might experience a familiar stomach rumbling, or instinctively reach for a snack out of habit rather than actual hunger. And this, right here, is one of fasting's primary lessons. Your body isn't pleading for food, your routine is. Deep within your cells, subtle shifts commence. Enzyme activity changes, and hormones reconfigure their patterns. It's discreet, almost imperceptible, but your metabolism is already rearranging the pieces on its internal chessboard. For now, your body maintains smooth operation. Your focus, energy, and mood remain steady. Yet, beneath this tranquil surface, the stage is being set for a much grander metamorphosis. Between the 4th and 12th hour of fasting, a peculiar phenomenon occurs. Seemingly nothing happens. You can work, drive, think, jest, scroll, converse, and carry on with your life almost exactly as usual. An external observer would detect no change whatsoever. And that's precisely the point. Your body is designed to bridge this period effortlessly. It still possesses ample glycogen, your stored glucose, to maintain blood sugar, fuel your brain, and keep every organ functioning without interruption. But beneath this veneer of normalcy, subtle shifts begin to accumulate. Insulin continues its slow descent, finally allowing your cells to open their metabolic doors and release stored energy. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, rises not because you are starving, but because your habitual mealtimes are passing. It's a psychological echo, a lingering script from your daily routine. And like an echo, it dissipates if left unaddressed. As this initial phase extends, your liver assumes the role of a quiet hero, breaking down glycogen granule by granule, drip-feeding glucose into your bloodstream. This process is seamless, controlled, almost elegant, but the supply is not infinite. As the hours advance, your body starts to perceive that its familiar fuel source is diminishing, and it prepares itself slowly, intelligently, and instinctively for the moment it must transition to an entirely different energy source. Around the 12-hour mark, the delicate balance you've been maintaining begins to shift. Your glycogen reserves, once a plentiful cushion, start to dwindle. Not completely depleted, but noticeably lighter. And your body senses this. Subtle signals ripple through your system, not in a panicked manner, but with a calculating, evolutionary foresight. It starts to pose a silent question. Is this a temporary pause, or is food genuinely absent? This is the juncture where many confuse habit with hunger. You walk past the kitchen and feel a pull. You catch the scent of cooking, and your mind responds before your body does. These aren't survival alarms. They are psychological routines. Your brain has been conditioned for years to anticipate food at specific times. When those moments arrive with nothing on the plate, you perceive the absence more acutely than any actual physiological need. Meanwhile, deeper within, insulin levels drop sufficiently for your fat cells to finally release their stored energy. This stored energy isn't merely locked away, it's being prepared for use. Mitochondria begin adjusting their internal chemistry, anticipating the switch to a new fuel source. The body becomes more alert, more tactically aware, as if scanning for cues to decide whether it's time to conserve or adapt. You might experience a dip in energy, a slight mood fluctuation, or a moment of mental fogginess. These are not signs of danger, but indications of recalibration. The system is changing gears. Once your body commits to the next phase, the transformation becomes unmistakable. As you approach the 18-hour mark, the precarious feeling of business as usual starts to dissolve. Your glycogen tank, once a comfortable safety net, is now nearly depleted. Not empty, but close enough for your body to recognize that readily available energy is fading. This moment is the crossroads. Biological history has conditioned your system to make one of two decisions: panic or adapt. And the human body, meticulously shaped by millions of years of survival, almost invariably opts for adaptation. This is when you might experience the first genuine wave of discomfort, a dull headache, a brief surge of irritability, or the insidious voice in your mind suggesting, just one snack, just one bite. However, these sensations are not indicators of peril. They are the final echoes of a body transitioning from the familiar fuel it prefers to the deeper reserves it rarely accesses. As glucose diminishes, fat assumes center stage. Fat cells begin to open, releasing fatty acids into your bloodstream like a slow, deliberate deployment of emergency provisions. Your liver silently works in the background, converting these fatty acids into ketones, clean, resilient molecules that your brain can utilize when sugar is no longer available. What feels like an external struggle is, in fact, the awakening of a far more efficient internal energy system. This is the moment your metabolism ceases to behave like a modern, sugar-powered machine and reverts to its original, resilient design. And once this switch is initiated, your body does not revert. By the time you cross into the 24th hour, you are on the brink of a remarkable neurological shift. Your body has already started releasing ketones, but now, for the first time, your brain truly begins to register their presence. For most of your life, your brain has run almost exclusively on glucose. Quick, predictable, familiar. But when that supply dwindles, it doesn't shut down. Instead, it starts to test the new fuel entering the system. Ketones traverse the blood-brain barrier with astonishing ease, and almost immediately they alter the chemistry of your thoughts. The mental fog that crept in earlier begins to dissipate. Your mind doesn't feel hyperactive or overly caffeinated. It feels steady, almost quiet in an unexpected way. It's as if someone has lowered the background noise within your head, leaving only clarity. Inside your neurons, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a potent protein supporting learning, memory, and neural protection, begins to increase. This isn't a minor adjustment, it's a neurological upgrade. Your brain is strengthening connections, repairing minor imperfections, stabilizing mood, and sharpening attention. It is preparing you for endurance, not just immediacy. Meanwhile, hunger starts to behave differently. Instead of spiking like an emergency alarm, it arrives in waves, brief, transient, and surprisingly manageable. When a wave passes, a sense of calm settles in. This marks the beginning of metabolic freedom, the moment you realize your energy no longer relies on constant feeding. This phase is subtle, quiet, yet profoundly powerful. It's the bridge between who you were when you consumed your last meal and who you are becoming as the fast deepens. Somewhere between the 30th and 36th hour, something astonishing begins to occur. Your hunger, which you might have expected to intensify, actually starts to subside. Not because you're depleted of energy, nor because your body is shutting down, but because your hormones are finally stabilizing. Ghrelin, the hormone responsible for the sensation of hunger, follows a rhythm. It peaks at your usual meal times, then declines if you don't respond. By this point in your fast, that rhythm starts to fade. What once felt like a demanding voice now feels more like a fleeting thought, noticeable but not urgent. You are no longer battling your cravings, you are observing them. Inside your body, the shift is even more impressive. Your liver is now producing ketones consistently enough that your brain has a constant and reliable fuel source. Your mood begins to stabilize. The irritability that flared earlier softens into a peculiar emotional steadiness. Even your senses sharpen, not dramatically but sufficiently that you notice details you typically overlook. This period represents the first true psychological milestone. It is when you realize that you are not merely abstaining from food, but actively adapting. The body's initial protests dissolve into cooperation. What felt like effort transforms into a state of flow. For many individuals, this marks the beginning of true comprehension. Fasting isn't getting harder, it's getting easier. Upon reaching the 36-hour mark, your body transitions into a state rarely experienced by most people. This isn't due to danger, but because modern life seldom provides the stillness needed to unleash this potential. This is the moment when autophagy truly takes over. While the term sounds complex, almost medical, the underlying process is elegantly simple. Your cells initiate a thorough internal cleansing. This isn't a casual or gentle tidying. It's executed with the precision of a microscopic cleaning team that has patiently awaited this opportunity for years. Within each cell, tiny structures begin to scan for compromised or misfolded proteins, fragmented components, and aged mitochondria that no longer function optimally. These elements are identified, disassembled, recycled, and then reconstructed into novel components. Imagine millions of minuscule janitors simultaneously springing to life, sweeping through your body and dismantling everything that impedes your efficiency. This profound level of repair is unattainable when your system is constantly busy with food digestion. This is the point where inflammation begins to subside, cellular waste is eliminated, and energy systems operate with enhanced efficiency. Surprisingly, many people report feeling lighter, both physically and mentally during this phase. The digestive system is at rest, the bloodstream is purifying, and your energy is no longer divided between digestion and detoxification. Instead, all resources are directed towards repair. This stage is why fasting is frequently associated with longevity research. The Nobel laureate scientist Yoshinori Ohsumi revealed how autophagy retards aging, boosts cellular resilience, and safeguards against diseases that thrive on compromised cells. Within your fasted body, this same award-winning process is now actively unfolding. Hunger diminishes, mental clarity increases, and the deeper this internal cleansing progresses, the more your body feels like it's undergoing a complete internal reboot. But what comes next? What emerges after the 48th hour might be even more impactful. Around the 48-hour mark, your body crosses a threshold that modern living almost never permits it to reach. Here, one of the most remarkable transformations begins. Your immune system initiates a comprehensive reset. This isn't merely a boost or a temporary surge, but a genuine internal reconstruction. It starts with a signal triggered by the decline in glucose and the sustained elevation of ketones. Your body recognizes the continued absence of food and reorients its priorities. Old, worn out, and dysfunctional immune cells, particularly those that perpetuate chronic inflammation, are earmarked for degradation. They are cleared out through the same autophagy pathways that were previously activated. This isn't an arbitrary removal, it's a strategic process. Your body discards soldiers that are no longer effective. Concurrently, deep within your bone marrow, a subtle preparation commences. Stem cells, your body's foundational builders, receive instructions to prepare for regeneration. Researchers at USC discovered that extended fasting activates these stem cells, enabling them to produce a fresh supply of white blood cells once you resume eating. Essentially, your immune system isn't being suppressed, it's being replaced. Imagine retiring an entire army that has been overtaxed, underperforming, and perpetually reactive to stress and training, then replacing it with a pristine, efficient, and entirely new force. This is precisely what's happening within you. Externally, you might only experience calm, focus, or stable energy. But internally, your body is reorganizing, reprioritizing, and upgrading the defenses you will depend on for the rest of your life. And as you advance into the third day, this transformation only intensifies. As you move past the 48-hour mark and into the 50 to 60-hour window, something unexpected begins to emerge, a profound sense of stability, almost a serene equilibrium. The hunger that was once acute now becomes distant, subdued, almost inconsequential. Your body is no longer resisting. It is fully committed to a new metabolic frugality. Ketones now flow steadily, not in hesitant trickles, but in smooth, reliable currents. This consistent supply remodels your internal landscape. Your brain now operates on a fuel source that doesn't cause spikes or crashes. Your energy fluctuations cease. Your emotions feel cushioned, safeguarded, insulated from the usual daily stressors. Growth hormone levels rise dramatically at this point, sometimes reaching 5 times their normal levels. And instead of degrading muscle, your body does the opposite. It safeguards it, repairs it, and strengthens it. This is why individuals often describe this stage not as a period of weakness, but as an unusual sensation of inner fortitude. Even cortisol, the stress hormone, begins to behave differently. Instead of spiking due to cravings or blood sugar drops, it stabilizes, fostering a surprising tranquility. For the first time, fasting feels less like an endeavor and more like an alignment. Your metabolism, hormones, and nervous system begin to synchronize, as if they've finally agreed on what truly matters. Outwardly, nothing appears dramatic, but internally, the body is preparing for the ultimate transformation that occurs as you push beyond 60 hours. Upon crossing the 60-hour mark, your body enters a state that feels almost otherworldly, sharp, serene, stable, and intensely focused in a way you may never have experienced before. This is not adrenaline or stimulants, it is evolution. You are transitioning into what researchers often refer to as hunter mode, the biological state humans relied upon long before the advent of modern comforts. With glucose long depleted and ketones now at their peak concentrations, your brain begins to perform like a high-efficiency machine. The mental fog is gone. The internal noise is gone. What remains is clarity. Pure, distinct, unmistakable clarity. Thoughts arise more swiftly, but feel smoother, almost effortless. Problem-solving skills sharpen. Decision-making becomes more precise. Even your emotional responses stabilize, as if an internal dial for intensity has been turned down. BDNF continues its ascent, reinforcing neural pathways and shielding your brain from oxidative stress. This isn't merely a mental shift, it's a structural one. Your brain is rewiring for efficiency, not expediency. And unlike the nervous energy derived from sugar or caffeine, this clarity is grounded, steady, and enduring. There's a reason our ancestors could track prey for extended periods, strategize without food, and endure lengthy periods of scarcity. Their bodies weren't failing, they were optimizing. And within this time frame, your body taps into that same ancient intelligence. Your senses feel somewhat sharper. Your awareness expands. The world appears more defined. This phase serves as a reminder. You are not just capable of functioning without food, you are capable of functioning better. And as you approach the 70-hour mark, your body prepares to enter its deepest, most balanced state yet. As you near the 70-hour mark, something remarkable settles in. A level of balance so profound it almost feels surreal. Your body is no longer adjusting, shifting, or negotiating. It has mastered the fast. Every major system, your metabolism, your hormones, your immune response, now moves in quiet synchronicity. This is a state most people never attain, not because it's impossible, but because modern life rarely offers the body the opportunity to reach it. Ketones flow with seamless consistency, fueling your brain and muscles like a perfectly calibrated engine. Inflammation continues its decline. Digestion rests profoundly, almost meditative in its stillness. Your gut lining, which seldom gets a true reprieve, begins to repair microscopic damage, and your microbiome, the billions of bacteria influencing mood, immunity, and even weight, shifts toward a healthier equilibrium. Inside your cells, precision replaces chaos. Autophagy perseveres with its cleansing, eliminating the final vestiges of damaged material. Growth hormone remains elevated, ready to rebuild once nutrients are reintroduced. Cortisol stabilizes, and your mind feels remarkably serene, as if the body and brain are breathing in unison for the first time in years. Outwardly, nothing appears dramatic, but internally, a symphony of renewal is playing, quiet, organized, and intentional. You are not merely surviving without food, you are operating in the mode your body was designed to achieve, yet almost never does. When you finally decide to conclude your 72-hour fast, the moment feels almost ceremonial. Not dramatic, but deeply meaningful. Your body has just completed one of the most profound biological resets it is capable of. And now, after 3 days of stillness, your digestive system awakens slowly, cautiously, like a powerful machine warming up after an extended shutdown. This is why the initial bite holds more significance than most people realize. If you overload your stomach too quickly with heavy, greasy, or highly processed foods, you shock the very system you spent 72 hours repairing. Your freshly mended gut lining isn't prepared for the sudden impact. Your insulin sensitivity, now at its peak, can surge too rapidly, and the calm clarity you've cultivated can dissipate in minutes. However, if you ease into it gently, intentionally, your body responds with remarkable precision. A warm broth, steamed vegetables, a soft-boiled egg, a few slices of avocado, simple, easily digestible, and nutrient-rich foods. As they enter your system, your digestive enzymes stir awake. Insulin rises in a smooth, controlled curve, and your cells open their doors, ready to absorb what they've been awaiting. Inside your bone marrow, the stem cells previously activated begin transforming into new immune cells. Muscle tissues initiate subtle repair. Your microbiome starts to reconfigure itself around the first nutrients it encounters. Even your senses feel heightened: taste, smell, and focus, as if someone has polished the interior of your world. Breaking a 72-hour fast is not just about eating again, it's about reintroducing life into a body that has been renewed from the inside out. And that first meal becomes the bridge between who you were before this journey and who you have become after it. After 72 hours, an undeniable truth emerges, perhaps more vivid than anything else encountered on this journey. The truly astonishing aspect of fasting isn't merely how your body functions, it's the profound self-discovery it facilitates. You come to understand that the sensation of hunger doesn't constitute an emergency, and discomfort is not an inherent threat. You learn that genuine discipline can unlock a level of mental clarity that no quick fix could ever hope to counterfeit. You realize your body is far from fragile, desperate, or reliant on incessant nourishment. Instead, it is remarkably resilient, highly adaptable, astonishingly intelligent, and possesses far greater capabilities than you ever imagined. Fasting fundamentally alters your relationship with food, with cravings, and with the ingrained impulse to alleviate every emotion with a bite. More significantly, it redefines your perception of your own boundaries. You recognize that the limit you once considered insurmountable was never an actual barrier, but rather a belief you had yet to challenge. And if these 72 hours have been an eye-opening experience, then what transpires in the initial 24 hours might prove even more astounding. That's precisely when the transformation commences, much earlier than most people anticipate. The very moment your body first transitions, first adapts, and first unveils its intricate, hidden systems. So, if you're prepared to grasp the true inception of this journey, your next action is straightforward. View the video regarding the 24-hour fast. Because once you witness what your body achieves in just a single day, your perspective on hunger and your own inherent potential will be irrevocably transformed.
This video is for educational purposes only and isn't medical advice. If you have any medical conditions or take prescription medications, please talk to your doctor before making any changes.